Consider supporting ArchaeoSoup on Patreon for as little as $1 per month. Link available in the video description. Thank you.
Where you get those papers, all those weepers, how they hypnotize. Where did you get those eyes? Where did you get those eyes, mate?
Hello and welcome back to another Archaeologist's Eye. In this series you are presented with a puzzle scenario, an invitation if you will, to see the world through an archaeologist's eyes, or at least through this archaeologist's eyes. Last week, you may recall, I presented you with a question, with a puzzle scenario. A question as to how it is that a building constructed partially, at least, out of repurposed van windshields is reminiscent to archaeologists, or to me at least, of a building that was constructed, give or take, 1,000 years ago. Now, to present you with the answer to this particular scenario, I've come to Willington Quays, to the Newcastle University Offshore Engineering Centre, because it was just behind that fence a few years ago that I visited a very special archaeological site that was reminiscent of the one that I was reminded of. You may recall that there was a wooden railway that was dug up just over there, and it was evidence of a gauge of railway and I suppose the incipient stages of what would become a modern steel rail track that was preserved beautifully in anoxic waterlogged soil just over on what was the Neptune shipyard just there. Incidentally, just for reference, just behind the camera is the Swan Hunter shipyard, another very famous shipbuilding entity on the banks of the River Tyne, which actually is just over there. But it was here, just behind that fence, that the Willington Quays wooden railway was uncovered, and it absolutely reminded me, in tandem with the building down at North Shields, partially constructed out of repurposed van windshields, of the 1,000-year-old structure that I teased you with in the puzzle video. But before I give you the answer, I just want to say I very much appreciated the suggestion on that puzzle video that I might have been talking about repurposed sarcophagi or other features of curiosity, I suppose, built into medieval structures as part of architecture, partly furniture, partly practical, I suppose you could say. And there were some excellent examples provided in that little thread on the video there, so do check out those links. But great suggestion, but it wasn't quite what I was thinking of. What I was thinking of was a find that was found in an anoxic conditions, in waterlogged conditions, and that was kind of the transit van of its day. I am talking, of course, of the Hungate excavation, an excavation in the city of York that I did take part in a couple of times, a few days worth of digging when I was working for the Archaeological Trust. But I wasn't actually responsible for uncovering this particular find, although I did see it in the ground. And that is a repurposed hull of a ship, specifically a knar, a trade ship, a Viking trade ship, or well, actually the Saxons had very similar boats as well, that had been brought up presumably onto the riverbank and chopped up and turned into what would become the cellar or the basement area for a workshop house plot of land on the edge of the Viking city.
So these pegs here are fastening the one plank to the other, edge to edge. That peg there fastening the frame, which would have gone along there. So yeah, that tells us which was inside and which was outside on the boat, and those will go together.
So it was a boat that had to be repaired.
Yeah. So it tells us that the boat's been built, it's been used, it's suffered some damage, it's been repaired, so it's had a real life before.
I loved the parallels. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, actually, it's not strange to see parts of a van, a workaday, backbone of industry type vehicle, folded into a building. It's exactly what we saw 1,000 years ago in York, or just over 1,000 years ago, and archaeologists had no trouble distinguishing what was going on. Distinguishing between the building and the ship, and positing actually a story. In fact, it was, I think, if memory serves, the remains of the boat had come from elsewhere. They'd come, I think, from the south of England, and had found their way to York, and then seemingly the boat was rendered no longer seaworthy. Maybe it had a really rough final voyage, and they decided to turn it into a workshop, or part of a workshop at least. So hopefully that was a satisfying solution to the puzzle, and as I say, the more I thought about it, the more the analogy and the correlation between the two really rang true. Not only were these vehicles used in similar ways and for similar purposes, but eventually someone saw fit to include them in a building in a slightly unusual way. Incidentally, as well, there are other examples, it seems, and certainly other applications of boat builders' skills in Norse and actually also Saxon architecture. So it's not just literally this one example. There are places where it seems that people who did make boats made buildings. Actually, a good example was recently found on Lindisfarne, where people who made certainly boats and buildings out of wood were actually trying to make a building out of stone. They were carving chunks of stone as though it was wood, making notches and things in the stone in order to build a church. That was quite an interesting application as well of these, I suppose, maritime and carpentry skills in slightly different realms. Anyway, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed that particular puzzle. I certainly enjoyed thinking about it, and as I say, it was really, really satisfying to understand more fully the parallels as I meditated on my surmisings. If you enjoyed this, I'll definitely share more puzzles as and when they occur to me. Until next time, do take care. Bye bye.